Howdy, everybody. It is, well, yours truly, Pyra Draculea. Hi. And we are working on Ricky B, the rock and roll rat, pretending to be the judge at the local fall fair so that he can sample the weed and the cheese. And we have done a whole bunch of paint pen work the last couple episodes, so we're going to start blocking in a bit of actual color now. Let me see. I think I've got, yeah, the top. So we'll work kind of from the top down. And color reference. You can see there's a little bit of a warmish tone up here. We're not going to be super accurate quite yet because I basically just want to block some stuff in. And I don't know how obvious it is by the sound of me. I am sick. So, yeah, we'll see. And it may also kind of get toned down by the fact that it's going over green. Anyways, you can probably tell my voice sucks right now, so I'm probably not going to be doing a whole lot of chatter in today's episode. We'll see though. So, first thing I'm going to do is kind of outline and then um, I will smear this around. I can already tell. I think I'm probably going to be doing a couple coats, so I'm not going to worry about this one being kind of, sort of, a little bit too pink. And it's pretty transparent. So, anyways, we'll see how it looks when it dries. Oh, that's looking way too. I was like, I'm just gonna touch the tip of the crimson, and then I'll have like the kind of buff color and add some white, and then it won't really be pink at all, just the faintest hint, and then it's like super pink. But that's how it goes, eh? So, I'm gonna do my usual thing of manipulating the canvas, anyways. Because my shoulder is bugging me. Everything's bugging me. It's one of those weeks, eh? And this thing kind of kicked in on Friday. I was like, I'd been doing some organizing and whatnot, so kicking up some dust. I was like, oh, okay, well, my sinuses hurt, but I'm sure that's just the dust allergies. And then by the end of Friday night, it was pretty obvious it was not just the dust allergies. So, yeah, whatever. Am I even in focus? Yeah, not really. If I do this, yeah, I can kind of tilt back and sort of see what I'm doing. Just brace that against my knee. And I am going to let some of the screen show through anyways, because that's kind of become a bit of my style right now. That's my excuse, so I'm sticking to it. Like these yellow streaks, I'm probably going to try and leave in. So the roof. Now I am gonna, and the roof is kind of darker. I am gonna try and get a little more yellow in for these walls, although the acoustical panels kind of have a bit more of a grayish purplish. You know what? Maybe let's kind of add some bluish into these and kind of run with that. With these, we're gonna have a little bit more of a dabbing kind of texture, I think. So let's just go ahead and do that. And over multiple coats, we'll get that kind of built up. Of course, I'm dabbing, and the other thing is this does not have any like texture gel or anything in it. So because it's acrylic, acrylic doesn't normally hold peaks as well as oils, so this will probably end up kind of drying with much less texture to it than it, you know. Whereas an oil would actually probably hold these little tiny peaks. I don't know how well those show up in the camera, but anyways. this with my other hand. I'm not particularly ambidextrous, but for stuff like this, it doesn't make much difference. And my left shoulder isn't bothering me. Except that feels awkward in other ways, so whatever. Stuff's dropping all over the place today. That's fine. Of course, when I do the next one, it's going to actually wrap around the back corner, which is going to be awkward, but whatever. Still not as annoying as it was to do all these little dots, which are now starting to disappear. That's the thing with doing the pen work underneath. Some of it is going to go bye-bye, and you just have to be cool with that. Looking at the reference image. Yeah, I guess it would kind of, well, I'm going to assume that it stops right at the top corner, although it would go around on this side, but... And on the side, honestly, I'm not going to worry about the texture so much. I'm just going to brush it. Okay. So we got our pain in the ass acoustical panels done, and we've got the roof done. Um, and my little paper is kind of shredded, so we're going to start another one. Okay, now in here we have some tone on tone stuff, which is pretty subtle, and some other that's not as subtle on the wall. The wall, I think I'm going to do with the straight, just a Titan buff, pretty straightforward, because it's got a little bit of a yellowish tone. So, and here I think I'm going to do my brush strokes kind of vertical to contrast with the ceiling. And I'll use a bigger, fatter brush. This is one of the crappy little Montmartre brushes that the bristles had been longer, but they always splay out. So I just chopped the tops and made them, because then they're stiffer and they hold their shape better. And in parts, like I said, I'm going to let some of this stuff um, show through. Here, because that's a window, the windows, I do want that to stay, right? So I gotta be kind of careful with what I'm doing. Probably use a smaller brush around the windows, actually. Why don't we do that? If I kind of outline them, then I don't have to worry about getting too close to them. At this point, I'm still painting pretty thinly. I mean, I tend to paint fairly thinly anyways. But in particular here, we're just doing the first what's what kind of blocking. And I don't know how much that shows, but the ridges from the gesso application are still showing through with a thin application, which I don't mind. Because that's kind of the point is that it wasn't, there isn't as much of the texture of the actual what you call it, the actual canvas showing through. Whereas this afternoon I was doing grid transfer on a different painting where I had put the color wash on like actually a couple years ago, and then I never did anything else with that canvas. But point is, it had a base color without having re-gessoed, and everything is showing that canvas texture, which is kind of annoying, but whatever. I'll just have to be a little more aggressive with my brush strokes when I'm doing that particular painting and try and knock out some of them. Although I realize I'm not going to knock out all of them. So looking, because somewhere back here there's like a little storage thing that juts out, which I think I've just had like the black side of it. So I'm gonna just pretend that it doesn't jut out and just go straight down. And I guess I'm just using the small brush. So we'll just put the other one in the water so it doesn't get goobered. Um, I don't know how well it picks up in the camera, but this looks fairly yellow, but once it goes on the canvas, it looks pink. So I probably could have just done the ceiling with this, but it's kind of good to have a different tone, actually. So some of the little hash marks I'm kind of covering up. They may show through when it dries. We'll see. I mean, the background on Ricky's still life didn't have any of those show through, so I think this isn't focused, sort of. Eventually, I'll probably have to put like a dark, well, probably be a paint pen outline at the very end of this ear because Ricky's skin tone isn't that far off of this, right? So, but that's a later detail. Yeah, I think that sign is in focus probably. Who knows? The sign might be in focus and the painting is out of focus or vice versa, but yeah, I made up. I noticed when I was editing the last video, it's like, oh, it's like times when I pull the canvas towards me to work on it and then you just see the blank wall. Maybe I should make like a little sign with my URLs. So I'll find out when I'm editing this one if it's actually readable or if it's like fuzzy because this is in focus or whatever. But uh, it gave me something to do, anyways. Whichever night I did it, I forget now. Sometime last week. Okay, so the background is done. Now, the lattice is going to be a bit of an issue. Because I have the gray here right now. We do have the green showing through. Yeah. And then, I mean, there's different people and whatnot. And So I think I might leave the green and then just, and not necessarily today, but actually do like proper with white paint, like proper lattice stuff. Should I do that now? Let me think. Yeah, I probably should because I'll block in the black first because there's like a black curtain. Because if I do the lattice, then I can tidy up the bottom edge when I block in the tablecloth. So yeah, let's get on that right now. But let's do the black first. For now, I'm just gonna rough in the black area. When I'm doing more finished parts of the painting, I'll make it clear that there's kind of, where it undulates because it's actually a curtain, not a wall. I'm trying to work back to front, so like Ricky will get blocked in with black, but that'll be after the lattice and the tablecloth, and yeah. Ricky will be kind of the last dude blocked in, which I think I'm about 40 minutes in. I don't want the video to be too long, so we may not get to blocking in Ricky today. The people are all kind of wearing dark clothes, so we'll just kind of like do that a little bit. And this dude's also wearing black. Don't worry about getting him like super blocked in because that'll be for later, but after. Anyways, dude's wife was also wearing black. This lady, I think, is actually wearing dark greens, so we'll figure it out. And this one's wearing kind of a reddish, but again, we'll give them a black base color. I'll just kind of block them in. Why don't I work this way this time so that I can have something to grip onto when I'm working on that side that isn't like, yeah. We had debated at one point, like painting the whole background in as if the lattice wasn't there, and then doing the lattice over top so you'd see the body shapes underneath and whatnot. But yeah, we'll call it stylistic, but really it's lazy. What this effectively means is this lattice layer is like the final layer for those spots. Other than once it dries, then I would paint, the flowers in the flower show over top, of course. But like, I'm not gonna touch up the lattice. Is my point. It's whatever it becomes today is what it is. And I'll probably go over the top rail and at later dates. Who knows? I'm saying this is I'm only doing the lattice once, but we'll find out in future videos, eh? I'm doing this in the wrong order. Been doing this way first and then whatever. This is where Ricky's whiskers kind of vanish for a while. He looks weird without them, but it's a lot easier to paint over the whiskers and put them back in with paint pen at the very end than to paint around the whiskers the whole way through. Oops. Oh, I just realized that's actually the tablecloth. Never mind. Never mind. It's like, why is that pink stuff there? Oh, right. It's fine. I think we're running close to, we're like at 50 minutes, so I don't think we're going to be blocking in the bottom half today. We're going to finish up the lattice, and then we're going to leave it till next week, and yeah, so that'll be nice and dry when I go over to block in the tablecloth, and that's what it's going to be. That's also way. Here we go. Anyways, just thinking, should I block in this rail? I'll probably leave it for now and do it later when I'm happy with the wall. There is a rail that goes there for where they used to hang the quilt show, but that's kind of a little bit of the building version of Ricky's whiskers. That if I paint it in now, and then I have to paint around it, it's a pain in the ass. So Some of these are a little too wide, but whatever. Whatever. Paint. It's just occurred to me that if I had decided to follow what the garden club does outside of the couch and exhibition, they actually have like short little pipes with the little short black curtains that are only like that tall for backdrops when they do the in club parlor show. And then I kind of just painted this all black and been done with it. But whatever. I do kind of like the texture of the lattice work, however poorly painted it may be. right. So, I'm gonna take this off and take the camera off of the tripod and zoom in. We are already over an hour, even when I cough or edit out all the places where I coughed. So let's quickly go over what we did. Yeah, what we did today. So we blocked in the top. The color's a little too pink, but whatever. And of course, I also wrapped around. So we blocked in the ceiling, and I'm casting shadows because of the lamp. There we go. Hold it with my other hand. We blocked in the walls and these kind of weird acoustical panels. We left the windows open, and then we did more wall. A little bit of clothing blocking in and this curtain. And then we spent the rest of the time taking forever to do this lattice. But I'm going to call the lattice part totally done. So that's a win. And then I'll just zoom around there and kind of see what's on the other thing. So next time we're going to block in the, don't need it double zoomed in there. There, we'll zoom out a bit. Next time we'll block in like the tablecloth, the floor, start blocking in Ricky, at least his clothes. Well, I guess we'll do, let me think, order of operations. Gotta do his ears first, then block in his hair, then his skin and his clothes, and then his little sign. We'll start blocking in the banners and that sort of stuff, although I have a feeling the blocking in is going to be another 2 videos by the time, because this took so long. Granted, the lattice took forever. But you know, you get the color roughed in. It takes longer than you think, and then we can start refining shape and form and all that sort of stuff. And then, well, since I mentioned the sign, and I don't know if it was in focus, there's my little sign in the background with Ricky on the right, and then my other cartoon character, one of my other cartoon characters, Noah Thorson, on the left. And Noah's not very rat friendly, but anyways. So, hope you've enjoyed today's show. Not a lot of talking because I figured I would start coughing, and I feel like I'm going to cough any second now. So, next time I should be over this damn cold. And that may or not, yeah, that may or may not be a good thing because it probably mean I'll talk more. Anyways, talk at you next time, and we'll see you then. Bye for now.